Good morning and welcome to this live. Let me just refresh my computer. Okay. Give people a chance to come on. Make sure that you can hear me okay. Okay, so we've got some people joining us now. That's brilliant. Thank you. Morning, Tracey. You're all to blame for this. I was so inspired by your card. I had to give it a go. Morning, Philippa. Hi, Christine. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera and I'll explain what I'm going to do. Bear with me. Oh, just dropped my computer. My laptop. Oh no. Bear with. It's because I moved my camera position, my phone holder. Okay, that's okay that I can see. Okie dokes. I hope I didn't do any damage. I don't think so. Right, let's get that hooked up so you can't see my lead. Make sure that the position's not too bad. Okay, so I loved Tracey's live on Monday where she showed how to do the hidden sentiments card, and she explained it beautifully, and I did a typical thing and thought I knew how to do it, and I should watch the video again before I started. So there are things you have to do in a certain order, which I didn't, and it made my life very complicated. Anyway, so I just want to give you a couple of hints and tips as well, of things that I discovered, because if you knew how long this card took me to make, and if you watch Tracey's video, it's really easy. So I am going to really try and show it exactly the same way as Tracey made it, except for I do have the three sentiments this time. I wanted to put my big banner sentiments in there, and that was one thing I didn't think about. I don't do big cards, as I'm sure you're noticed, and the banner sentiment it was too long to be hidden. So it was like getting bigger and bigger, the piece of card, and it was like, I need to get round this. So I thought, just change the sentiment. So that was what I did in the end. And I have to say that I have found, now whether this is because this card has had so many different sentiments put in it, I don't know. Maybe I've actually cut the slits a little bit too big now for the size of the sentiments that I've got in there. But I did find that a wider sentiment works better. So yeah, that is all I would say, and it was my own fault because everything Tracey had said worked beautifully. So yeah, just think about the sentiment that you're using. Don't use anything that's too long, and you'll be absolutely fine. So, and I'm going to also share the amazing fussy cutting tip that she shared, that she got from somebody. I can't remember the lady's name now, I'm sorry, but it was such a brilliant idea. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows about it because it was fabulous. So I'm going to be making a 7x5 card, which is the card blank size that I go to nearly always. I've used my postage, but I've used my little floral, no, that's those ones. I've used my Blooming Gorgeous squares. Now all of these will fit in the postage stamp if you mask it off, and I'm going to show you a technique for doing that rather than using tape, which means you can use it lots and lots of times, which has been brilliant. But these fit in beautifully, obviously as long as you mask it. The little leaf one I think will probably fit in without even having anything done to it. So if you've got those, they fit lovely. And they do look really nice. I was very pleased. Okay, so First up, right, the first thing that you have to do, this is where I didn't pay attention, is you have to decorate this piece of card. Now, I didn't, so I thought, oh, I know, I could use that cutout, the fussy cutting trick, and I'll add some bits on there. Not necessarily where I want to put them, but when I was rubbing my pencil marks out here, I picked up a rubber that had a lovely spot of glue on it, and then I put glue all over my card, which I could not get off, even with my sand eraser. So I ended up, I've got to put something over this, because when you pull this open, you're going to see it. So, yeah, and I've splattered it with some gold in the background as well, just trying to add something to it, because I didn't pay attention and do that bit first. So I'm going to decorate the back of my card a little bit differently, I think. I think I'm going to do a bit of ink blending, a bit more like Tracey did on hers, actually, because I think just a bit of soft inking on there would look lovely. I'm also going to be using some masket sheets, and that is what I made my template out of. Now, I've used this to do, I've done 5 on there and another 5, so I've done 10 stampings on this, and it's still absolutely fine. Sorry, I'm reading Tracey's sentiment. I guess you could stamp the patterns first and then put the postage over the top after it's been coloured. Yeah, you could, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to cut a new one of those just so that you can see how I did it, but I used the masket. This card I used watercolour pencils, but this time I wanted to have a slightly different look, so I've gone with my clean colour pens instead. And I have done, I don't know if you've seen those now, I'm not sure. Oh, you can see it, okay. So I have already pre-coloured a couple of the leaves, some of the squares, but I'm going to do everything so that you can see how I've done it. Okay, so first up, let's move all of this out of the way. And I am going to decorate the back piece of my card like I should have done. Oh, I actually want to use that mat, don't I? Oh, and do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try something I've not done before. I'm going to do it with my pens. I'm going to scribble a bit of pen down, and I'm going to get my water, and I'm going to get a bit of acetate, and I'm going to use my pen, so I've got exactly the right colour for my background. I don't know, I think it might go a bit pale or dry paler, which is fine. So I know I'm going to have 1 here, or 3 down the side, and then 2 up here. So I just need a little bit of colour. I've picked out the purpley one, and I think I'm going to add some pink as well. I'm just going to give this a quick blast. Bear with. Probably didn't need quite as much water on it. So I do have, let me get, because I always watch Tracey do this and I never do it. I never dampen it off and make it softer, and Tracey does it all the time. And Hazel, actually. They always use a bit of kitchen roll just to soak up anything, and it does make it a little bit paler. Right, okay, so I've got that colour, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to put a little bit of my pink down, although I've got orange as well. No, I'm going to do pink, orange, and yep. So a bit of pink, not too much water, pick up some colour. And I do love this, because if you just touch down gently, you're getting lovely little dots. Not great big splodges at all. Need a little bit up there. Okay. Wipe that off. And I'm just going to knock it back. Let's get a different bit of kitchen roll. Had a clean piece here. Why do I do this? Why didn't I just get a new bit? Okay, so I'm just going to mop up any excess there. And then I'm going to use a little bit of my orange, because with my colouring, if I bring this in and show you, I used orange around the edge of my stamps this time to match in with my middle. So I'm going to put some of that colour down as well. So just scribble a bit of that out. Not too much water. Pick up little droplets. And we'll just have little bits of that just in the background. So we've got all the colours then that were on our colouring. So I know it's going to work. I know it's going to match in. Get the other piece because I don't want dirty bits. And let's just mop up any of that. Okay, so we have a nice soft background now. Oh, I found that bit of glue that was on my rubber. Right, that's better. Let's just wipe. I've got lots of gold spray on here. Let's just get rid of this. I did have a clean mat, but it only lasted about a day. Okay. So perfectly happy now with this. So now we can put this to one side to dry while we work on our postage stamps. So, and I'm missing all the comments because my computer's over the way a little bit. Oh, hello Hazel, nice of you to join us. I take it you haven't got a case yet then? Dear. Morning everybody, I'm sorry, I've missed everybody coming on. So thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so next up is my stamping press. And first of all, I'm going to use my postage stamp. Now, I have already stamped and coloured in some of them, so I don't need lots. I am going to show you what I did with the masket. So I'm just putting a piece in here, get it so it's lined up at the top, and I will put my postage stamp. I'm actually going to give myself a bit more room because the thinner it is, or the less room I've got around it, space around it, makes it a bit more flimsy. So if I can make it a little bit bigger, then I will. So just stamp that out, and then that'll be ready for me to create my mask with. And I need one more postage stamp for me to do my colouring on. So let's stamp one of those out, and then I can remove the postage stamp, clean that and put it back. And then what I need next is my mask. Let's put them in there a minute. So with my scalpel, I am literally just going to cut just to the right of the black line. So I just want to move, whoops, just want to take that centre out. Now you can do this with, I'll throw that one away now because it's all inky and horrible. You can do this with a craft knife like this. You could use removable tape and just tape around your postage stamps just to mask them off. Or you could use a bit of masket like I am. So we get rid of the middle bit, and then I'm just going to cut this, leaving a little bit bigger border just so that when I keep using it, it's not so flimsy. Okay, bring this back in. So I can peel off the bit of acetate, and you can keep it on the bit of acetate, which will help look after it. I was just so busy using it all yesterday. Okay, so then we're going to place this down so I can see the black line, which is perfect. And then I'm going to take my Blooming Gorgeous, and I'll have to use the same one because I've coloured the others already. I can place that down over the top, making sure that I've got my pattern inside my postage stamp. Ink this up. Stamp that out. Make sure I've got a nice impression, which I have. Then I can take this off carefully. Remember that that black ink will be a little bit wet still. I can place that down on my acetate, and that will look after it. So I've got that now to use as many times as I want. I didn't really need to throw the new one away, the other one away, sorry. But I had used it at least 10 times already. So it's a lot easier than using the removable tape. Okay, so this is ready to be coloured. And the other thing you could do it with as well, you could do it just with photocopy paper. I'm going to bring my card back in so that I can put that over the light. So this is ready for me to colour, and I've got my pens and I've got my water brush. If my water brush would work. Just trying to get some water to come out of it. There you go, it's coming now, and now it'll flood. Okay, so I want them all to look the same as these, obviously. So I'll have this one so I can look at it. So I did my bit of green at the base and along the stems. I did colour the stems, just think it's nice to add that little bit. And then using my paler colour, just coming in the top and just blending that in. Now you could do that with a water brush, but I've just found that this green works really nicely for that. Lovely to have everybody's company from all around the world. How amazing is that? Okay, so then I'm going to come in with my pink and my water brush and just move that, blend that out. So just a little bit in the centre, and then just blend that out to the edges. I only usually do one petal at a time because I find that the colour dries too quickly, whether it's the heat, because even though it's a bit cooler this morning, it is very muggy. There's a nice breeze though, which is good. And then I'm going to come in and do the same with my purple. Now for some reason, I don't know why, but I went around the edge of my petals, and as I've done all the other four, I only did it on the purple ones, but I need to do it on them as well. I should really have done the pinks, but I won't now because it'll be different to the others. So just around the edge. I love how with the water-based pens you can get that colour to move, and you know it's the same tone, you're just getting a much softer feel to the edges of your petals without having to do much work. So I'm not very good at that sort of thing really, shading and everything, so any help is gratefully received. Okay, so that's that. Do the centres. Now on my first card I coloured my backgrounds blue, and I wasn't sure, it was quite difficult not to pick up the watercolour pencil, so I decided that I wouldn't do that on this one. You can do, but I'm going to put some of the orange from the centre in the edge of my postage stamp, And I'm just going to move this around, blend it out to the edges, try not to go over the lines. I know lots of you have got watercolour pens, and these, I must admit, these clean colours, they are probably my favourite. Oh, I hate missing the comments come up because I don't know what you're commenting to then. I will go back and have a look. Brian, I've no idea what you're saying. What have I said? Did I say something bad? Okay, so the last bit, and then I do go round and then just add a little bit more colour. I will show you before we do it. So that's how it is when you've just coloured, but I do go back round and add that little bit more orange just to make it a bit more vibrant. Okay, so once we've done this, we'll have all our squares ready to go on our card, our background. And I'm going to follow Tracey's instructions perfectly. Okay, so these are all ready now to be cut out. So I will bring my little trimmer in because I'm happier using this one. You know how you just know where your trimmer cuts. So let's get rid of that bad one. Okay, so I am lining up the edge of my the black postage lines so that I get them roughly the same in size. You can, and I keep forgetting this, the dinky dies work with them. So I could have got I've only got one though, and I'd have to keep putting it through the die cutting machine. So this is probably as quick for when I'm demoing like this because I've got so many. And you don't want to sit and wait while I die cut all the squares. I should have done them yesterday. I thought to colour them, I didn't think to cut them out. Hey ho. So just trimming them down. And I'm really pleased I decided to do my background with the pens. That really was a last minute. Or thinking on my feet even, winging it even. Cool. I didn't know it was possible that I could wing it. Okay, let's get that out of the way. All my rubbish. Just these two, and then we're ready to start with our putting together, which will not take me the time it took me yesterday because I sat and listened to Tracey. I did it this morning even before I came live. I do love that with the videos. So I could fast forward in the video to the bit that I wanted and just go over that again. And I did write myself a list of notes. This is why I do quick and easy cards. But I just love the hidden message. I think that's so lovely. And I'm going to put a little note inside my cards just to say gently pull or gently slide out the squares on the right. Okay, so I have my postage done ready. Now I'm going to use the leaves because these are going to come down here. So let's just arrange them, have them in different orientations. And so then these are going to come on here, and then I am going to add my leaves because I want to show you how to do this fussy cutting, because even if you don't use it for this, it is so clever. Okay, so I need my leaf. Oh, put it out. It's from the Perfectly Pretty collection, and there's the leaf medley, dies and leaves, so I'm going to use this one. Okay, so we're going to stamp it out first of all. So just onto a piece of card. Let's use one of the magnets. Pick it up. Ink it with my VersaFine. Stamp that out. Beautiful. Oh, I do love leaves. Let's put my bit of, I can clean my stamp later then. Just a bit of acetate that protects the sticky mat. Okay, so you should really, before you colour, you should blot this just in case. So I'm going to colour my leaves in, and I just do about half, and then I drag that colour up the leaf, do the stem, because I am going to wet that as well, just so I've got a bit of colour in there, and you'll see why when we come to fussy cut it in a minute. Okay, so about half, and up the side. And just move that colour, blend it out. Just gives you that really lovely soft pale colour. If you want to come back in and add a bit more, then I don't blend all the way to the end. I just blend halfway up, and that way you get the ombre of the colour showing a lot better. Just a bit more colour down the bottom, and then only blend about halfway up, and it just sort of blends in nicely then. So it does look a little bit messy where I've done my stems, but honestly, once we cut it out, there'll just be that little bit of colour in there, which will look, well, I think it looks fine. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So about half. Drag that colour out. Let's do the last one, and then I'll come back in and give them all a little bit more. Okay, so just down the bottom here, and then just blend it up about halfway. And then that way you get a bit more of a watercolour painting look, because you're getting a different colour at the base, a different colour at the tip, and a different colour in the middle. That's a bit more like what happens with watercolours. I might just put a little bit there. Okay. So happy with that. Now I do need to clean my stamp, because this fussy cutting trick involves the stamp. And I don't know why I've never thought about this before, because when we design the stamps, we have to leave a border around the stamps so when they're washed off with the chemicals in the making process. So we have to leave a border. So this has got a border around it. So if I place my stamp down over the top of the design, and you know exactly when it's on in the right place, and then come in with my pencil and just trace round the solid back of the stamp. Don't worry if it's not absolutely perfect. And because my pencil is quite away from the edge of the stamp, because of the casing of the pencil. All right, let's pop that back down there. We've got that line there. Right, so I'm just going to go over it so that you can see this properly. So all I've done is trace around the edge. I should have done it in a pen, shouldn't I? 'Cause I'm going to cut it away. I just thought this was absolutely genius. So you've now got that pencil mark around the edge. If you want to add a bit more detail, which some of them you will, I'm going to come in down here, but I can put those pencil marks on now so that when I come to do the cutting out, it's much easier. And now when I cut this out, I've got a real nice line to follow. I come inside of the line again because I don't want to rub the pencil marks out, and just follow that round. You almost round off the edges with the leaves as well, which makes them easier for cutting out. I really did think this was, why have I never thought of that before? Just brilliant. So Tracey, thank you so much for sharing it. But I did want to make sure that everybody got to know this fussy cut trick, because I know a lot of people struggle a bit, and it's not that difficult, but yeah, I just think it's a really nice, a really good tip. It really is. And then we come back in here, and then we've got a nice border all the way around our leaves, which was so much easier to do without having to think about it. So awesome tip. Okay, right now, so Tracey put everything on her card beforehand. So let's start off with my leaves. Do need to bear in mind where I'm going to put my sentiments. So that's going to be all right, because this side is okay. I'm only gluing in part of the leaves because then I can turn the ends of the leaves up a little bit, and it just gives it a little bit more, I don't know, it just makes it feel like it's got a bit of movement. So this one, all I've got to remember is that I want to cut a slit. So I don't want this too far over. So I'm going to move it over a little bit more than I did last time. And then this one at the bottom was to cover up a mistake. So let's hope I don't make that mistake again. Again, I'm just putting some glue. I want to know that it's going to be about halfway. I think that will all be okay. I'm going to be very naughty and use foam pads. I do still have some to get rid of. Now, the 3 you're putting sentiments on, no foam pads yet. That was where I went wrong. Everywhere I could have gone wrong, I went wrong. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, and 3. I need to position them roughly where I want to be, and then I know that I want to put these in between. So I'm going to have 1 about there, and I'm going to have, let's move the orientation, 1 about there. Okay, so now we need our sentiments and our strips. So I have cut some pieces of card because I knew what sentiments I was going to use. So I have got my wide one and 2 thin ones. Now, all I would say is don't cut the slits all the same size, because these will waggle about. I do think you're probably better I think this is because the slit is too big, because I was using a different size sentiment. So we'll only cut it the size it needs to be. This is the wider one. And then that's got the just to say, happy birthday and enjoy your day. So these came out, don't know if oh yes I did, right. So I've got the happy birthday is from the fuchsia set. Oh yeah, but no, I thought, hold on, I was going to use my happy birthday from the postage set. I don't think I've got any more wording. Oh, I've got just to say. Oh, look at this. That's going to fit. Perfect. And I'll say sent with love. There we go. We're using all the sentiments out of here. So I've used different sentiments, so that's good. It's always nice to have something different. So, first of all, we need to cut our slits. Let me read my notes. Cut a slit. Didn't want to get it wrong. Okay, so I want this to be about there. And I want it to be about there. So I'm going to mark my piece of card. So I need to do a slit from there to there. Okay. That's that one. Then this one at the bottom, I'm going to do, I want it halfway in between the sentiment, sorry, the postage, halfway in between my postage. So position that where you want it. Hold my strip down, and then I want it about halfway through. So they should line up roughly. And then with this one, I want it halfway through my postage, so about like that. And then I want it about halfway through. So we will use my ruler in a minute just to see what they look like if they're lined up. This will be interesting. Okay, so I've got a mark there and there, and a mark there and there, and a mark there and there. Yeah, they're pretty much in line. That's not too bad at all. So with my craft knife, I'm going to cut down. I need to stand up to do this. So I'm going to cut down from that dot there, come down straight-ish. It doesn't matter, actually. I mean, obviously, use a ruler if you want to. And then we just check that that is going to pop through. Perfect. Okay, so that one's done. Next up is this one down to that one. You could do this if you've got the guillotine that cuts apertures as well. You could use that to do it. Pop that in there, and that goes in there. Okay, and then the last one, which is there to there, and we'll pop that one in just to make sure. Nope, I haven't cut this one wide enough. And I've done the same as Tracey. I have made them longer than I need them because it's much better to cut them down. Come on, get in there. I don't want to cut it too big. I can feel it's going to cut. There we go. Right, so all my sentiments, all my strips fit in fine. Okay. So I've done that. Right, so now I need to put some foam pads, and it just goes right on the end of the strip. So right on the end, let's cut that one in half. That should be about right, actually. Make sure. Okay, so it's just on the ends. Then what I'm going to do, I'm not surprised, Tracy, it was such a good tip. Okay, so now what we do is you line your edge of your postage with the edge of here. So there's nothing underneath here. So that when this gets pulled back through, it lines up over here. If you didn't, it wouldn't be in the right place. So now we're going to push. We're not going to line them up, no, we don't stick them down yet. Got to do the sentiment yet. So you can pull them all in here and get them lined up with your postage on it where you want it to be. Then you need to pull it back through and mark a little mark so you know where your sentiment can be. So the same on here. Pop it down so it's just on the edge and a little mark. And again, just over the edge and a little mark. Okay, so now we know where we can stamp our sentiments. So bring this back. And I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to turn it around this way. I'm going to do all of them in one go. I think I might even treat my sticky mat to a wash afterwards. Make it sticky again. I still can't get my head around it, but when the stick is starting to run out, just wash it and it will get sticky again. Okay, so I'm just going to leave a little bit of a gap between my pencil mark and my stamping. Positioned it roughly in the middle, happy with that. Going to pick those up. Now I can turn it on its side. And I'm going to use this VersaFine Clair Hawthorn Rose, was a beautiful colour, which went perfectly. So I'm going to use that just so it's a little bit different. And make sure nothing's moved. Stamp the sentiments. Sent with love, just to say happy birthday. Perfect. I wipe those off. I won't take them out just yet because I don't think I need this anymore. Okay. So now we can thread these back through. Actually, I'm going to rub out with a different rubber any pencil marks that's on the front where you marked, because you do not want to be able to see that. And then before we thread these through, I'm going to rub out my little pencil marks for where my sentiments could go. Right, so happy birthday in the middle. Pop that one back in. Pull it all the way through, just to say at the top. Pull that through, and then Sent with Love at the bottom. Pull that through. Then we can take off our backing papers. And with everything nice and straight, we can pop our pieces down on our cards. Okay, one. And let's do the one at the top with a similar border. And then let's try and let's have that one up at the top. There we go. Right, so now everything's in line. So now when we turn this over, what we don't want to happen is we need to put stops now, because otherwise this will just pull all the way through. All right, so what you're going to do, and you can do it literally just by pulling it back to see where your sentiment comes to, just allow a little bit of extra. Okay, it just mustn't come too close to the edge here. So a little bit of extra. It doesn't matter if they're different sizes or anything now. It really doesn't, but just leave yourself a little bit to stick it onto. Right, and then I had a really nice thin strip. Now this needs to be wider than the slit that you've cut. So as long as it's wider, it will stop your sentiment coming all the way out. That doesn't have to be lots wider, doesn't have to be uber thick or anything. It's just going to be enough to stop it coming through. A little bit of glue on the edge, and then you glue this to the edge of your strip. And just give that a little bit of a chance to dry. No worries, that's the whole beauty of the catch-up. That is absolutely it. Like, you can dip in and out as you need to, and even more so, like I had to, re-watch Tracey several times to get it in your head. So yeah, that is the absolute beauty of them. Now, when we pull them now, it stops. Your message will only come so far out. I didn't put that one in a very good place, did I? Never mind. It is good if it's like in the middle of your square, not 2/3. Oh, that one's not even very straight. Never mind. Okay, so on my back now, pop these back in. I need to use some thin foam strips around the edge of my card. So I am going to use the thicker ones, I think. So right on the edge of my card. So this is going to come, it won't touch it. My other one, I'll tell you, if you'd have seen it, when I had the sentiments that were too long and I was trying to make the bigger card, and then I just thought, I don't do big cards, let's just change the sentiment. But you can do it, and you can use bigger sentiments, but you just have to do bigger cards, which is fine. Okay, now the other thing that I did, and I did this wrong as well to start with, was I used more foam pad in here, like for little tracks, so that your sentiment can run smoothly and straight. So first of all, I put them down and I put them along the edge here, and then of course my sentiment wouldn't move. So you have to put them so that the tab at the end has got enough room to go down that channel. Now, Tracey didn't do this, so you don't need to do this, but it will run a little bit, I don't know whether to say smoother, but it just gives it a track to run in, if you like. Right, so that's just spare. So just make sure that you don't go, that you're just keeping it in that track. And it needs to go to the end. Oops. And it needs to go down straight. No good if they haven't gone down straight, because then it won't work. Okay, so now when we pull these out, they will run down the tracks. When you've got it on your card, it'll work much better. So let's do that, because we're almost there. Just a bit of glitter. Okay, so I'm sure I had a card. So that's my card blank. So off with all these strips. Like I say, Tracey didn't put the channels, so you don't have to do that. It was just I found that they moved a bit better. I'm going to actually pull them out because if they get stuck on the channels, it won't work properly. Ooh, excellent, Tracey. Oh, that's good. And Philippa, I know you're going to ask me. I know you're going to email me. And I meant to look on the calendar. Oh, but it's still June, isn't it? So I don't have... Oh, right, okay, so it's not the new calendar. I think next week, I think it could be Joe... Oh, no, Joe might have done one this month. Okay. I will email you. I was going to tell you what day I was going to do my live on. Okay, so I'm lining that up. So I've got a nice border all the way around the edge. Firm that down. And because I had these pulled out, these will now slide into the channels. And just go nicely back inside so I can line everything up. I'm so chuffed. I did this one in under an hour. I won't tell you how long this one took. Okay, I'm falling in love with liquid pearls again. And so I'm going to put some in the centres and I'm using platinum. If you haven't met liquid pearls, they have been around for years and they keep having comebacks. They keep getting forgotten about, but I love liquid pearls. It gives you a lovely bit of dimension and it stays dimensional. So I'm going to add just little dots around and about. Going to do 2 in 2s, I think. I love this background with the pens. I should be doing that again. Let's have a couple in there. And then, can't have a card of Julie's without some glitter glue. So I think I'm going to do the flowers definitely. So a little bit, scribble a bit of glitter glue on my petals. So on each of the flowers, avoid the liquid pearls because it takes about the same amount of time as the glitter glue does to dry, but you mustn't touch it because you'll lose the dimension and it will dry dimensional. I'll show you the dots on my other card in a second. And then I did put some glitter glue just on one edge of my leaf. And I like those leaves popping through the background. Forget how useful leaves are. I know Tracey is probably one of Tracey's most used die sets. Okay, right, so I'm going to bring it up and just show you the dimension that you get with the liquid pearls. It is just beautiful and it just adds a little something in the background. So this one's just got the gold specks, the splatters, and this one is just using the pens but doing an inky background. I really like that. I will definitely be doing that again. So my tips for Tracey's Hidden Secret cards are: do not pick too long a sentiment unless you're going to make a big card. And I had another one, hang on my notes. Ooh. Oh, and they sit a little bit better if the strips aren't too thin. So I think like this wider one sits and works better than the thinner ones. But there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me just very quickly whiz through Okay, looks like, right, I'm going to go and make myself a coffee, read all the comments. Let me just flip the camera. I do like to say goodbye properly. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that. I really did. I will upload this to YouTube. Tracey's is already on YouTube because I watched it this morning again. But go and take a look at it. Make sure you try the fussy cutting tip as well and share it with as many crafters that you know, because I think it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We'll be back. Right, it's not Tracey's turn on Monday, so I think it's Philippa's Technique Tuesday. I think Philippa, help me out. Are you back on Tuesday, lovely? I haven't seen your graphic yet, but I could look on the calendar, but I'll have to go offline. Okay, I'm sure on, oh, it's because it's saying new comments and I've gone back. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm pretty certain wasn't this week, was it? I don't know where the weeks are going at the moment. It's so frightening. They just fly by. Anyway, we will post on here when we will be on live next. I bet it should come up now. Oh, Brian's taking over. Oh, Brian. Excellent. Fantastic. So you've got Brian to look forward to next week and myself. If Thursday's free, Philippa, I'll do Thursday, but I will go and check. And I will post on here when we'll be on. Have a lovely, oh, it's only Thursday, isn't it? Have a lovely weekend, especially if you're on a long one. And if you have a go at the hidden message card, please share it on Crafty Friends of Julie Hickey Designs. And yeah, go get some liquid pearls. Take care. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.